welcome to Sweet Tea and Tacos. I'm Dave.
And I'm Jen.
And we have a little bit of a guest today with us. We have our daughter.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, if you've been listening, we talked about a trip that Jen and I took to New England when we were first married to visit culinary schools, and it was kind of a big our first big foodie trip.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we had told our kids about that. They had heard the stories of the trip.
Yeah.
So, our daughter recently graduated from college. From
High
high school.
school.
High school, getting ahead of myself.
That's a big difference.
A big difference. And, part of the discussion is, do you want to go on a spring break trip? Do you want to go on a senior trip? What would you like to do? Blah, blah, blah. Well, tell them what you chose.
Boston and Vermont.
Yeah, to basically kind of not totally recreate, but to go back into that area that we went. So yeah,
we did that in May after she graduated from high school.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just wanted to kind of share what we did and what we ate and the favorite parts of our trip.
So we flew in to Boston. We did things a little bit different, so we flew into Boston, and one of the things we didn't do when we went was have a lobster roll, which is kind of a big synonymous thing.
So
Yeah,
good.
really traditional.
Yeah. So we flew in and we'd done some research, and we went to this place called
James Hook.
James Hook.
See, I remember.
Yeah.
It was right down there on the wharf.
Yeah, it was right on the wharf. And tiny little place.
Oh, yeah.
But gotten good reviews.
Mm-hmm. So you want to tell what we got, babe?
We got, let's see, I think we got like 2 lobster rolls.
Yep.
And me and Dad got clam chowder.
Mm-hmm.
And Mom wanted to be different and get a stuffed scallop.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about it. But we got the lobster rolls with butter.
Yeah.
Not mayo.
Clarified
Not
butter.
mayo.
Yes.
So good.
You got a whoopie pie, too.
Not there.
Yeah.
Did
Huh?
I? No, I don't think I got it there.
But man,
Oh,
the lobster rolls aren't cheap. But there's a
no,
ton
they're
of
not
lobster on
cheap.
But it's this little bitty. The building's small, but
Yeah.
there's outdoor seating.
There's
Yeah, they had
yeah.
a good bit of outdoor seating. We had to sit inside. It was a little cramped, but it was busy. And
Literally, they had
Like a tank.
not even really tanks, containers of lobster.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like
You
8
can
of
just stick
them.
your hand in if you
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just right there.
just right there, fresh, but
Whew, so good.
really fresh and just
Yeah. So then, one of the things we had decided to do in some research we had done was we found the Boston Tea Party Museum.
The Ships and Museum.
Ships and Museum.
Yeah.
And it is. It's a museum that is dedicated to the Tea Party.
the historical event.
of the Tea Party that kicked off kind of the American Revolution.
1773.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And
So
it was
what the 250th
50th
last
yeah,
year.
last
Yeah,
year.
it was in December. I think it was the 16th of December was the 250th anniversary.
Yeah, so it's kind of in the middle of one of the bridges over the river, right, and kind of the bay there, and it's connected to the bridge. So we had a reservation for, I can't remember, 4 o'clock in the afternoon or something.
4:30.
So we had plenty of time to get over there.
Mm-hmm.
And they do, because it's a tea, it kind of talks, it's a round tea, they have a tea room.
Yeah, Abigail's Tea House.
Yeah.
Abigail's Tea House. We went up and we got tea because we had plenty of time before our reservation for our tickets.
Right.
And so what they have other things, but of course we wanted to kind of stay historical and have some of the teas. And they actually serve the teas that were popular of that time and also the tea that was thrown into the harbor.
Right.
So there were, 4 or 5 kinds?
5.
I think 5.
Yeah.
I took a picture of them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was one called Young Hyson Green.
Ooh, I loved that.
Yeah, they have all these crafts. So you can just sit there and, you
Drink as
when
much
you get a
tea as
yeah,
you
you drink as
want.
much tea as you want. So that was kind of an early spring green tea. There's one called Singlu, which is a little darker of a green tea. There is one called, which is kind of the most popular one, which the was it the Kongu or was it the Bohi?
The bohi, that was the one that was like the most popular in the colonial era.
Uh-huh.
It was like the easiest to buy.
Right. It was kind of like the everyday tea, the real common tea.
I liked that one a lot.
And
It
then they had
says-
one, the Kongu, which is a little darker from that. And then they had the Sushan, which is, if you ever had Lapsang Sushan, which is a real smoky.
Right.
It's like a campfire,
Yeah.
but like in a good way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
in a
that
good way.
Konju one tasted like apples, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good.
So,
So that was so cool.
Yeah.
Getting to sample all those teas,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a really just nice
Mm-hmm.
room with a lot of tables. It was,
Chandeliers
just
and-
very pleasant.
Very pretty and colonial. Everything was.
There were some kind of artifacts and things to look at,
Right.
like
Some
tintype
historical
photos
things.
Yeah.
and teapots from that era and everything.
Right.
It's really-
So then, when it was time for our tour, we went downstairs and you kind of go into this one area, and it looks like a meeting hall.
Right.
yeah,
And they do. They have reenactors, and they reenact kind of the meeting.
They
Tell
were
me
really
what that meeting
funny.
was.
I was holding a cup of tea, so they give you a little kind of like coffee to go cup for
Yeah.
your tea, and if you want to, you can buy the fancy souvenir mugs, which we
Which we
definitely
did.
did because
Which we
we're
did.
nerds.
We're nerds.
And I'm holding my little cup of coffee, and
Cup of tea.
yeah,
Yeah, cup of tea.
duh. And the reenactor guy goes, "That better be Dutch imported tea. Is that tea that I see?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I definitely. That's not British tea. I love treason."
So
They're-
yeah, so they did a really
they're
cool
so funny.
reenactment of that meeting at the meeting house
Right.
before the
I
tea
got
party actually
voluntold by
Yeah.
y'all. Thank you.
She had a part. She had a role, a speaking part in the reenactment.
Yeah.
It's really fun though,
Yeah.
because everybody's like stomping their feet and yelling "Fire to the British!" and
And
it's
huzzah!
crazy. Highly recommended if you're a history nerd like us.
Yeah.
And then you go out and they have replicas of the ships that were used to transport tea, and they are real ships. They're replicas. They're about 100 years old, but they are real. They're in the water. They're not dry docked or anything. Then after the ships, you go in and kind of go through a more. It's an interactive museum.
Don't spoil it
Yeah.
though.
Yeah.
It's really nice. I mean, it's very
Well done.
very well done. I was very impressed with the level of it. I mean, comparatively, we've been to Williamsburg, and I would say it's absolutely on par with Williamsburg and some of the best museums we've been to.
I would definitely go back.
Yeah, absolutely. So then from there, we were staying at a guest house kind of outside the city, which was neat because it was a chance for our daughter to see some of the countryside of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And I remember her reaction was really
The
funny.
little houses are so cute.
Yeah, she's just like, I can't stand it. It's so cute.
It's like a Tasha Tudor book everywhere.
Right, yeah. So we went back the next day. We go back into Boston. The idea was to do some of the North End and the Freedom Trail. So we went in, and this was a bit of a poor planning on our part, but
Yeah.
we went to the USS Constitution because that's one of the things that Jen and I didn't do the first time we went.
And Dad wanted to nerd out over the ships.
Yeah, and we failed to check the website, and that it was under renovation, and
Closed.
so it was closed. So,
But it was neat though.
yeah, it was neat. Even just being outside,
And there
it
was a museum next
museum
door.
there. There's a nice museum there, and then we took an Uber over just to get across the bridge a little bit faster.
Our Uber
And
driver was so nice though.
He was.
Oh,
He's
he
like a
was.
chef or something.
Yeah,
I
he's
don't
a
even
private
know.
chef.
He's a private chef, and his wife is from Mississippi.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then we went to the North End and we started walking, and then we did Paul Revere House.
Right.
Yeah, which our daughter hadn't. Of course, we saw it, but she
Right.
hadn't
Got
seen
real low ceilings, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And we were talking about this that when we were there
Yeah.
24 years ago.
Yeah.
It was
That-
free, right?
We
I think
think
it
it
was
was
free.
free, or maybe you could just like make a small
donation.
donation. And I mean, I get it; it's the economy and all this,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
It's
it
like
was,
we
$6.
all had to pay to get in.
Yeah,
That was kind of
yeah.
disappointing. It was just, it was
was worth
amazing
it.
to me on this trip, like just
Yeah.
how much everything
right,
cost.
right.
Yeah.
So then we had found this really cool kind of Italian market sandwichy place.
Salad
When we were
Mary.
there
When we were there the
before.
first time.
Yeah.
Well, it was right around the corner, and so we went.
Wait, was it the same one that y'all went?
Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Salumeria.
Salumeria
Italiano.
Italiano. So good.
And
Oh my
we
word.
walk up the sidewalk, and it would just kind of picturesque, and there's these two older guys sitting outside the door with chairs arguing in Italian. And then we go in and look around. Of course, our daughter wants to get everything. And she's like, "Oh, I like that." So we got sandwiches and some little
deli sandwiches that they made right there, fresh.
Mozzarella, fresh cut, and prosciutto, and balsamic,
pesto.
and some.
Yeah, it was like a kind of Italian meat one, and then we got a turkey one, and we just
pesto.
all three split.
We split it. And
Two-
we
yeah,
went out
two
and
big
went actually
sandwiches.
back around the corner. There's a little sitting area.
Right across the street from
across
the
the street
Paul
from-
Revere
yeah.
house.
Yep.
And we sat outside and enjoyed our sandwiches.
Pellegrino and
Pellegrinos, yeah.
And it was like it was just such a good meal, and we were trying to really be budget conscious
that was the
because
cheapest meal on the trip, I think.
it
Oh,
was.
yeah.
$20, 2 sandwiches,
And,
3 Pellegrinos.
But so good.
Yeah.
So yummy.
So then after that, right around the corner, because you're in the north end, and there's just restaurants everywhere you look, and there's a couple of really good Italian pastry / bakery places, and so we stopped at the one called Modern Pastry.
It's good, yeah.
And you got what?
A fresh cannoli.
Fresh filled cannoli.
The way it's supposed to be.
Yeah. And then we got a lobster tail, which is kind of it's a super thin pastry.
It's like a crunchy
It's like this,
croissant.
you know,
that's sweet.
laminated dough, like croissant dough is with the thin layers, and it's made to look kind of like a tail, like
it's
a
kinda
lobster tail.
triangular, yeah.
And then it's filled with this pastry cream.
It's like if you were trying to eat a croissant, but every single flake is like really, really crunchy, and it just kind of explodes when you eat it.
Yeah.
Except
And it
it's
was
filled with
just
chantilly cream.
Massively filled with chantilly.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
And you got a
I got a whoopie pie,
Yeah.
which is very Boston, very
Chocolate.
Massachusetts.
yeah. So we walked down the street some more and found a little bench and had our dessert, and then we kept trucking along the north end. Went to Quincy Market, and y'all kind of bebopped around there.
It's very.
Yeah, we did a little bit of souvenir shopping there.
Yeah.
That's actually a good place for souvenir
is.
shopping.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things in one place, and you can just compare and see what you like. There's also a lot of different food stalls as well.
Yeah.
And then, we kind of finished up not too far from there. We finished up at the old State House. Yeah.
Yep.
And then we headed out. And so the other part was we headed to Vermont.
Well, yeah, the next day.
The next day.
Yeah.
So we got a big start. And we had kind of looked at several driving routes to Vermont, because that was a big part of the trip last time. We enjoyed was just the drive through the just gorgeous
Oh,
city.
it's so pretty.
But one of the things we had planned was to stop at the Vermont Country Store. So I'm sure you have probably seen, and if you haven't, the catalog of Vermont Country Store. And if you look through it, you're going to look through it and say, yeah, that's things like my grandmother wore.
Right.
Or,
Real old-fashioned.
Really old-fashioned
Yeah.
kind of things. So
It's like beauty care
Like
and
tangy makeup.
yeah, and
clothes.
there's some makeup, and then there's these kind of old-fashioned candies
Right.
and just
household thing.
yeah,
old-fashioned.
it's just kind of a neat
Yeah.
Just
was a
Vermont kind of
conglomeration.
It was a beautiful little area, and there's a covered bridge right next to it that you can drive over. And they have a little restaurant that wasn't open when we were there, but they did make fresh sandwiches.
Well, I think they were just opening. Like it was, it was kind of early, and so they were just opening up.
So
but they went ahead and made us some fresh
Right.
sandwiches.
And so we got a couple sandwiches and a little cheese and sausage plate with these little Vermont cheddar biscuit things, which are so good. Kind of like giant.
But they're like giant oyster crackers.
Yes, they're like
Yeah.
giant
Vermont
oyster
cheddar
crackers.
and
Yeah.
sort of like
Yeah,
salami.
so we sat outside and had another picnic. We had several picnics on this trip.
I love a good picnic.
But the thing was, I mean, the sandwiches like at Salumeria and at Vermont Country Store,
Just so
such good
good.
quality, like they was so fresh and like
Yeah.
I'm not just a huge sandwich kind of person, but I was so into all of that because of the quality, you
Right.
know?
Like if you stopped at like a gas station in Mississippi and you
Oof.
tried to get a sandwich,
Like old pimento and cheese or something.
good luck with that.
No.
Yeah. And it's interesting because we had the same experience in London. You could get a sandwich
Yeah.
kind of anywhere.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Even at what they call like what do they call them? Pharmacies or
Yeah, kind of like little drugstores or
yeah.
But
But they were good quality. It would be like
Yeah.
ham with cucumber and butter and stuff, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, you would
That's
not
genius.
pick that up at the gas station.
Butter
in
instead of
Mississippi.
mayo.
Now you might get some good barbecue, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Some boiled peanuts.
Yeah. So we kind of kept on trucking, and the next thing we did was we had found and when kind of just did some research. There's a company up there called Simon Pearce, which is a glass blowing. They have all this hand blown glass. And
well, he's an artist.
he's an artist,
and he's famous for the glass work and for clay.
right?
And so it was like a gallery, but also a workshop.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to tour all of that.
Yeah.
And it was
There's a
amazing. We got
catwalk
to watch
system.
them
Mm-hmm.
walk
Above the glass kind of
yeah.
factory because it's
Yeah.
the factory store
Right.
and you can walk
You
in
could
there.
look down from that catwalk and watch them blow glass.
It's
Mhm.
very
And then you guys got
hot.
to go over to the ceramics
Yeah.
We
and the
did.
pottery and watch that.
Right
Yeah.
before it closed.
Yeah.
They were very nice though.
Mm-hmm.
Lessons I've learned on trips. Always talk to the people. You never know.
Yeah.
Always.
Your Uber
Always.
drivers, just random shop people. Just ask them
Absolutely.
questions. Tell them you're
Right.
not from here.
Right.
What are they going to say?
Right.
No.
So then we continued on because we were staying at the Trapp Lodge again.
Like we did
like we
24 years
24
ago.
years ago. So we got into the Trapp Lodge that evening and got our room, got all settled, and we went and ate because it was kind of late and had a long day. We ate in what they call kind of the lounge area, and
It was pretty simple.
Yeah.
You and I got just a bowl of what, chili? Some
Venison
kind of
chili.
Venison
Yeah.
chili. It was very good. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
We weren't super hungry because
Yeah.
we'd just been traveling all day.
Yeah.
Dad got, what'd you get?
I didn't get anything really.
Yeah,
I think we just had
get?
dessert.
Yeah, Dad had a beverage and then dessert.
A beverage.
Yeah, they brew
Beverage.
their own beer. They have everything spring fed water up there. And since we were there last time, they had opened a beer hall and they were
They have
brewing
their
these
own
beers.
label of beer.
Yeah. And then so the next morning we got up. Did we have our big breakfast that day?
No.
No.
We had that after that.
Oh, that's right. So we went to. They have a place down the street called the Coffee House.
Cafe house.
Cafe House. Yeah. And what did we get? Have coffee, obviously.
We got this
tea.
breakfast sandwich with like a farm fresh egg.
Yeah.
I think it was
Farm fresh egg,
like an English
grass-fed,
muffin
yeah.
and like grass fed like sausage.
Right.
Oh, it was so
And we
good.
sat out on the back. They have a patio on the back, and it's
I
just
got a maple latte.
Mm-hmm.
When they say maple in Vermont, it's
mean
so
it.
much
It's just
better.
maple
Oh,
syrup. It's
yeah.
They
fresh
mean it.
maple
It's
syrup.
not just maple crazy. It's,
I mean,
it's
in,
good.
in addition to all the brewing of the beer, they also,
They
have
have their own
a
maple
cottage
syrup.
industry
Right.
of doing their own maple
And
syrup.
they raise their own beef
Yep.
and
Chickens.
pork, chicken, everything.
That's the farm fresh eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw those chickens that produce those
Yeah.
eggs.
And we're just sitting out there, we're enjoying our breakfast, and it's the Green Mountains, and you're just, it's beautiful.
Ah,
So.
so pretty. I mean, the weather in May in Vermont was just
Yeah, it was really
so
nice.
nice.
Yeah, and evidently it's kind of a downtime for them,
right.
because we actually met a lot of people from Vermont who were staying there because they offer a discount for if you're a resident
Right.
during those times.
Right. Because their school doesn't get out until just a little bit later, probably like June, because they
Yeah.
don't typically start until after Labor Day.
Right.
And whereas here in Mississippi, we crank up early August
Yeah.
and then we're out by mid-May,
So then something our daughter really wanted to do, and they have all these tours and activities, because
Well, yeah, if
it's a very
you're-
large property, it's 2,500 acres or something.
Yeah, if you're a resident of the lodge, then these tours are free
as part of your kind of resort fee.
Mm-hmm.
Was meeting the cows. They have Highland cows.
Fluffy red Highland cows.
Yeah, so we hiked. Our daughter and I went and did it. Jennifer didn't go.
The cows
Yeah,
have
I
big
kind of
horns.
chickened out at the last minute.
Understandable.
Yeah, well,
It was
the
a
guy
lot
giving
of-
the tour wasn't. He was a little reassuring about you not getting bumped by a
No.
cow.
Yeah, he
so.
said, I cannot assure you that a cow won't ram into you. And I was like, yeah,
Mom's
I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm out.
So
It was
our daughter and I, we did it, and he was very funny and talked about how the cows, but it also talked about how they're raising and they're using the meat and they're doing all this stuff. And
It's all about the sustainability and the good farming and ranching
gave us
practices.
the names of a lot of local farmers that he supports himself, and that he sells his own farm
Stuff,
fresh
right.
eggs at farmers markets. There's a lot of that available in Vermont, unlike here where there's about one farmers market.
Yeah. So we did that. We came back. I don't even remember. Did we go to Stowe after that?
I think so.
So we kind of decided we had another tour kind of lined up for the next day. No, that afternoon, but the cows wore us out a little bit.
It did.
So we decided to drive down into Stowe and kind of look around a little bit.
And if you don't know a lot about Stowe, it's in the winter, it's all about skiing, like cross country skiing and downhill skiing and all of this. But the town is just so cute and really quaint and beautiful.
Yeah. So we drove around a little bit, and then we were getting hungry again, go figure. And we stopped at this little sandwich place that looked kind of interesting called Edelweiss. So it's kind of connection.
Kind of a deli bakery.
They've got all kinds of bottled drinks and snacks. And
had some tables out front, which
it's
is
like a
kind of
place
neat.
to stop when you're skiing.
Yeah, so many places around there have nice tables for you to sit outside, and it's very pleasant, of course, being in Vermont. So we got a couple sandwiches.
Got me a bagel.
Yeah,
with
bagel sandwich.
Salmon and stuff.
I don't remember what I got.
Yeah,
Y'all remember?
I don't remember either.
We
were terrible about
you
this.
got a chicken salad.
Oh, it
sandwich.
was.
Yeah.
And it had some bacon in it.
And it was like a really interesting, it had like grapes and all kinds of stuff in it.
It was kind of almost like a Waldorf, however you say that.
Salad.
Waldorf.
But it had bacon in it.
Gotcha.
And you got, what, a meatball?
We got you a meatball.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then we kind of, finished our drive and went back up to the hotel, and I don't know, we probably took naps.
I think we did.
Yeah. And then, but you did get to do something fun. Let's back up.
Okay.
While our daughter and I were doing, walking around this cow field.
Oh, yeah.
You and there was another lady.
Right. So it was a grandmother who was traveling with her son and daughter-in-law and their grandson.
They were doing the cow tour.
And they were all doing the cow tour. And she was kind of like me. She had decided at the last minute that she would stay back. So we were just chatting because we were right there and we could see y'all out in the field. And we had a nice conversation. But then this guy who worked at the resort drove by in his pickup truck, or drove up, and he stopped and he said, did y'all not want to go see the cows? And we said, no, we decided not to. And so he said, well, would you want to go see a black bear? And we were like, well, okay. And so he said, hop in. So we hopped in this pickup truck and we turned around and went back down the road to where they have this big kind of compost area. And the chickens were over there in a big kind of pen area too. But there's a couple of black bears that come and frequent the compost. And he had just seen one of them, and we saw his little head peek up, and he was so cute. And he would kind of run away every time he thought we were looking, and then he would come back.
Well, you can put that on the bucket list.
You saw a bear.
Saw a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then that night we decided to eat in the dining room as kind of
Fancy.
a celebration. Now, this is kind of when Jennifer and I were there years ago, it was the whole, oh my goodness, what did we do? And we ordered like the 5-course meal. And
Well, yeah, and back then, I mean,
that's all they had.
it was either a 5-course or
Or
a
a 3,
3-course.
yeah.
And they've modified it a
They
little
have,
bit.
yeah. It's just ordering off the menu now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So you guys got the schnitzel or
Schnitzel
something?
Was
Yep.
Spatzel and like or cranberry.
I think it was a lingonberry sauce.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, it said the menu says breaded pork loin, herb spatzel, cucumber salad, red cabbage, fresh lemon, and lingonberry jam. And it was kind of a little selection of sausages. Go figure. Wiener schnitzel, had some spatzel, a little cucumber salad with it. Yeah. And I think our daughter and I, we got a little potato soup and everything.
Yeah, y'all had a soup first.
Yeah.
And then we all got dessert. Well, they
course.
gave you a complimentary dessert for
did.
graduation.
They put a little candle in it.
Yeah.
And everything. It's like, I think people thought it was my birthday. I'm like, no, I graduated.
I graduated from high school, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was that day. The next day, we actually had another tour lined up. And given the first day's activities, we were a little worn out. So we thought, we'll skip. It was a sugar making tour.
I wanted to do that, man.
But then we decided, there's this chapel there. They can tell you about this.
Well, wait a minute.
We did the history tour, too.
Yeah, that was like later that morning, right?
Yeah, we
Maybe
did the
around
history tour,
11.
Yeah.
And it was about the resort and the Von Trapp family and, their whole journey.
Right.
The real stuff, not the stuff in
And
the
you and
movie.
I had done something
we had done
similar
that,
to that when we were there before.
Right. So then there's this chapel that was built on
Werner.
Werner, one of the sons.
In the 40s.
and it's on the very tip top of the mountain, and the lodge is just down from it a little bit.
It
And
is
actually,
not
our
at
room.
the tip top of the mountain.
Well, it's on one of the peaks. It's on the
felt like
top
it. Right.
of one of the peaks.
So you look out the back. Our back door opened up into the part of the hill. And beautiful trees, and sheep are right there.
Yeah.
But we happened to see, oh, look, here's a marked trail. Our daughter walked up there and kind of investigated and oh, hey, let's go this way to the chapel.
Yeah, Mom and Dad, come and go on a hike with me.
Yeah, well, if you could imagine a double black diamond ski, and I'm not a skier, I don't know what, triple black diamond, whatever. The worst possible vertical trail you could take to this thing is what we took.
I got you walking sticks.
Yeah, and
You're
but
welcome.
Jennifer and I, we were like, we don't remember. We did this when
Yeah,
we were little.
we hiked and we were
had-
thinking,
this
this was not our experience. What is the deal?
So we found that the old person trail came in from a different direction.
And we had taken that one.
That's what we had done before.
I thought I had great time. I had a great
She
time.
had a great time.
Well,
It was really
we barely
fun.
made it. And tell about the benches.
So there's these benches that are like commemorative. You can mark like family vacations or whatever. You can get dedicated along the trail. And Dad was like, Dad, you tell that part.
I told her, I said, you need to dedicate this one and say, hey, my parents got left up on this hill or something.
To my old
decrepit.
Yeah.
Old decrepit parents I left on. I made go on this.
You're
hike.
not old and decrepit.
Yeah,
we
felt
were
like
we
it
were
after that.
feeling it.
It was so funny. I was just like halfway up the hill.
Right.
And I got some sturdy walking sticks for them. And I'm just like at the top of the thing.
Yeah, bing,
I'm
bing, bing.
thriving.
Yeah, you're
like
everywhere.
We would
holding
not
on to
have made it without
trees
those
and-
sticks.
No.
Yeah.
But then we took the long way down,
Long
which
way.
was much better.
Much better,
Very
more comfortable,
smooth and
beautiful.
pretty. There's a bunch of chipmunks and
Yeah.
butterflies.
Oh yeah.
Gorgeous, yeah. So then the next morning we actually ate breakfast in the
Dining room.
dining
room,
room.
yeah.
And it was the
The
big
buffet
kind of breakfast
style
buffet.
kind of.
And everything is the farm to table. It's all just the quality is incredible. And I don't remember what we did that day, but oh no, I'm sorry. Let me back up. We went to the beer hall for dinner that night. Now the beer hall didn't exist when we were there
No,
before.
this is pretty recent.
Yeah.
Like maybe within the past 5 years, something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, I don't know.
Looks a lot more modern than anything else.
Oh
Right.
yeah,
Resort.
and it's down from the other
In
resort.
2010 is when they opened.
Oh,
it,
okay. You have to take a little shuttle bus or drive your car.
Yeah.
Which we took the shuttle.
And just a really nice looking building and everything, but the menu oh,
Fabulous. Oh.
on a different level. I mean, the other food's good.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh yeah, it's really good.
it was funny. A colleague of mine had been there. We just discovered this, and he kind of described the hotel as being like the hotel from Clue. You know, that's the way it looks and feels. It's kind of got this, but then the brew house is kind of more of this modern-y feel. But the menu was just out of this world. So,
like the menu at the lodge is real traditional,
Yeah.
like very Austrian, and you know,
Yes.
and this was more like just kind of modern. I don't know, just real
Right.
foodie food,
Right.
you know.
So we started with, it was a collection of mini salads. 5 mini salads. Is a cucumber salad, a turnip slaw, a beet slaw, and then kind of a carrot and tomato. It was just
So good.
Every
And
single
refreshing.
one of them was
phenomenal.
incredible.
The beet was incredible.
Mhm.
And-
I ate I loved the beet one.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I don't like beets that much. That was really good.
Yeah. And then for our meals, our daughter and I kind of split some things. And they had the ones that bratwurst, knockwurst, and brauerwurst with sauerkraut, mashed potatoes, braised cabbage, and tomato salad and pickles.
And that is not sauerkraut, mashed potatoes. That is sauerkraut mashed potatoes.
Wow, so good.
They were so good.
And of course, Jen got a burger, the Johannes burger.
And Johannes is the youngest Von Trapp son. He was very involved with running the lodge for many, many years. He's since retired, and then his children are carrying on that tradition. But he was the one that got that beer hall started.
Yeah, and they do. They have, when you come in, they have this wood grill, and it's a wood grilled burger with their grass fed beef that's on the property, and of course cabbage, cheddar, cheese, and wow,
It was phenomenal.
it looked gorgeous.
Best burger I've ever had, I think.
And then,
Yeah, I think I let
We
you
split
have
it
some.
because it was as big as your face.
It was
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
No way I could finish
and then
all
we
of
had
that.
we all split a Linzer tort, I think, didn't we?
Apricot and
Yeah.
chocolate.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
it
and we
was
were
good.
like, as good as the food was in the dining room, this was the best food.
For us,
For
we
us.
just
Yeah, and I would have loved to have eaten there a couple more nights.
yeah.
You know, had we really
Try
discovered
everything.
that. So then, kind of the next morning, we headed out and we stopped at a little bakery there in Stowe to grab some breakfast. We didn't want to do a sit down or anything. Just we like to try different things.
Yeah.
Too.
It's
So called the Stowe Bee Bakery. Cute little place down there. Made stuff fresh. And,
Very good. Had like
We got-
biodegradable straws and recycled. And
Oh, everybody's so eco-conscious
Yeah.
out there.
It's so
You have to
nice.
pay, and this was, I mean, this may be very commonplace to some of you listeners, but that, you know, just where we live, it's just not a thing.
Right.
You had to pay for, like, if you went into a store and bought, you know, something at the grocery and
Right.
wanted a
about
bag,
5
you pay.
cents for a bag.
You don't have to do that down here.
Right. So then we headed back towards Boston, and by the time we got back to Boston, I was kind of wiped.
Yeah, you were pretty tired because
pretty
you
tired.
drove the entire way.
And we actually drove back through New Hampshire. So we got we stopped, but that's also the White Mountains, and there's just a different thing we hadn't seen when we went.
Right.
And so we got to the hotel. I was kind of wiped. But anyway, y'all went and got some pizza.
Yep.
That
At
night. But
Regina.
we got Salameria again for lunch.
Well, that's right. I forgot. We stopped.
We did.
When we drove into
Now that was
Boston.
kind of an adventure.
That was, yeah. 'Cause-
Trying to find it again.
Well, I drove in, and we're driving in through the north end in these little bitty streets. And so
Yeah.
I dropped them off, and they went in and grabbed some sandwiches. And
Yeah.
that was lunch.
Yeah.
And we got settled in the hotel because the next morning we were flying home pretty early.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of the unwind, get our stuff packed to go home. And anyway, I took a nap that afternoon. And then for dinner, you guys decided there's a pizza chain, I guess. Not really. They only have a couple of locations.
Right.
Local chain.
It's
a
the
local.
oldest pizza restaurant or continually operating pizza restaurant in Boston called Regina Pizza.
100 years.
Yeah.
I think.
And they have kind of the main location. They had another location out where
Yeah,
we
there
were
was
staying.
there was another location just right down from our hotel. Our daughter and I walked down there and ate, and it was fantastic. fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Tell them about what you got.
So they have like their house kind of sauce has Parmesan in it. And I really enjoyed that. Mom is a little bit on the lactose intolerant side, so you didn't get that. But it was like prosciutto underneath the cheese, and then on top it was like fresh cut tomatoes and so much basil. So much fresh basil. It was just, it almost looked like a salad, but it was so delicious. And it's just this little personal sized pizza, about like four.
I think it was a little bit bigger
Little
than
bit
that. Maybe
bigger.
like 8 inches.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
just enough that you have, enough to eat and then a couple slices to take home. And Mom got just the regular marinara and
And I got mushrooms.
mushrooms. And it sounds so simple. It sounds really kind of basic. Best pizza I've had in my life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ever.
It was good.
And I'm not just a huge pizza person, but it was, I have to say it was fantastic.
I was lucky enough that y'all brought me a slicer
Yes.
too.
Yes.
did.
You got to try both from both pizzas.
Right. Yeah, so that's it. It was another foodie trip, another big foodie trip, and our daughter got to experience a lot of those things. And we had some new experiences and some really cool stuff.
And we met those nice ladies in the Logan airport the next day, and we were just chatting, and they said, "Well, where are you from?" And we said Mississippi, and they said, "Oh, that's where that hometown show is filmed."
Yeah.
I was
With
amazed
the
they knew what that
Napiers,
was.
Ben and Aaron Napier, and they liked that show. It's just fun making connections with
Yeah.
people when you travel.
Absolutely. So that was really kind of your first time on a big trip like that too.
First time really out of the South. Furthest I've been is the
Met
Kentucky.
Texas and, yeah.
Well,
Kentucky,
she's
Ohio.
Virginia,
Yeah.
but that's, I guess, technically the South.
Right.
But yeah, New England is beautiful. It's
Yeah,
a
it
whole
definitely has its own aesthetic.
whole
It
nother
really
world.
does.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you said, go somewhere cold in the summer, please. It's really hot. Why are you going somewhere hot?
Well, and it wasn't cold. It was just mild and
A little rainy.
pleasant.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was it. So that was our New England 2.0. Fun trip. So you ever get a chance to get up there, definitely visit some
Salumeria
Italiano.
And you can follow them on social media.
Tiny little store, but great sandwiches.
Oh, and this is the nicest family that runs
Nicest
it.
people.
It was funny. Do you remember that first day that we were in there?
They gave us a free bag.
Yeah.
We didn't have to pay for
there's
it.
that.
True, but the husband said, "Is there an artist in here?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Yeah, I'm an
Yeah.
artist." And he said, "I knew it. I don't know how I know that, but I always know when there's an artist in my shop."
And he was like, "What do you think of my signs?" We're like,
We love your signs.
I said they look good.
And he
These
was
little
like-
chalk
he was-
signs.
He
Like,
thought
"No, I
I
don't
was
like 'em."
making fun of them.
Yeah.
Oh, we love 'em.
They were cute, but
They were well
I
done.
think he wanted some updated signs or something.
but just a fun experience.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and I think, traveling like that and trying new foods and seeing different stuff. Really
Lobster.
expand.
I haven't had a lot of lobster at all.
No, yeah. The lobster
Basil
rolls.
and so many things I hadn't tried.
Yeah.
Good maple syrup.
Oh yeah, and we brought some home.
Brought a little
We
maple syrup
did.
home. Yeah.
Yep.
Had to. Yeah.
Yep.
Note to self: buy like the big bottles. Airport security will love you, but seriously, that maple syrup, there's something about it.
Fresh maple syrup. And the farm to table is growing, the movement, and you can really taste the difference in things. So. Well, there you go. That was our Boston trip, New England 2.0.
Yeah.
All right. For Sweet Tea and Tacos, I'm Dave.
And I'm Jen.
And our daughter.
Bye.